Hello and welcome to episode 65 of the Films and Swearing Movie Podcast. I am your host Stu. Joining me today is the poltergeist hating, goon loving Michael Guthrie.
Thank you.
That's all I've summed up for the last two episodes.
Well, we couldn't really put anything about Jurassic Park in this one.
Aye. Although you were dinosaur slating.
No, I love dinosaurs.
Alright, okay. CGI slating.
Yes.
I'll come catch you eventually. Aye, so today we are doing Jurassic World.
Yes.
If just keep saying Jurassic Park, it's just
It doesn't matter. Jurassic Park 4, effectively, but yes.
Aye. So, obviously, don't listen to the podcast unless you haven't watched the movie yet, because we are obviously going to be spoiling it.
Fair enough.
That's
Spoiler alert.
You're warning out the rods. The film stars Chris Pratt,
Yes.
Bryce Dallas Howard, Vincent D'Onofrio, Ty Simpkins, Nick Robinson, Irfan Khan, and Jake Johnson. The film is also directed by Colin Trevorrow,
Never heard of him.
director of Safety Not Guaranteed.
Nope.
It's quite a good film.
I'll go with that way, yeah.
It's like a time travelling comedy based on an advert in a paper.
Alright, still never heard of it, but alright, cool.
Tell me, what happens in Jurassic World?
Well, if you've seen
Sum up the plot in like a sentence or two.
in the sentence, man makes dinosaur.
Yep.
Man makes fake giant ass dinosaur.
Mm-hmm.
Dinosaur escapes.
Chaos ensues.
Chaos ensues. Closure of theme park.
For a more meatier plot, IMDb wrote, 22 years after the events of Jurassic Park, Isla Nublar now features a fully functioning dinosaur theme park, Jurassic World. After 10 years of operation and the visitor rates declining, in order to fulfill a corporate mandate, a new attraction is created to re-spark interest in the park, but it backfires horribly.
Is
That's
that
like
is
the
that not just
boring
a case
corporate
of,
response? Like,
is that just the case of Jurassic Park 1 all over again?
aye.
Jurassic Park 2
Like, I was at
all
first,
over again?
we all thought, are they remaking it? Like, because like, alright, you have to when you remake something, it has to be on a grander scale. So it went from park to world. So like in 20 times, it's going to be like Jurassic Universe.
Well, does that mean, well, because if you went with the first three films, there was Jurassic Park,
Yep.
the second one was the T-Rex in New York,
Because that.
and then the
was-
third one really had nothing to do with anything apart from the fact that like, it was a plane crashed, like the kids so on the
Aye.
island.
Let's see, because there was Jurassic Park in the first one, like that
In
was
a
a theme park.
yeah.
Second one was like Lost World, but it was like a little side island where they were making the dinosaurs.
Yeah, with their own fleet, and then
a
basically,
wee breeding farm.
and then they captured them and put them in the park.
Exactly. And then the third one was supposed to be like a second theme park that was being built, but never got
No.
finished.
The
I
third
thought that was-
one was the first island, but it's been abandoned for however many years because
Right.
of the accident.
Aye.
And it was just the random boy and his family. They were on a yachting trip, and the storm came and they got washed up on this island.
Aye.
And then they go back and get the guy for the first one.
Aye. Like Dr. Grant.
Yeah, Dr. Grant, and he basically goes all Rambo and they go hunting.
Aye, that was it. Like, they bring
But-
him in as fucking Rambo, like the guide to get them through there.
But what I don't understand with the third one was where the Spinosaurus comes from when it's not in the first one. It's because it's almost like man's been back there and.
Evolved.
Well, no, it's a totally different dinosaur. But anyway, it's almost like man's been back there and tinkered a wee bit.
Maybe. The only thing from the third one I remember is like that infamous scene of where like Dr. Grant's like half asleep on the plane and he just hears like Dr. Grant and he opens his eyes and it's a velociraptor going,
Yeah.
Dr. Grant, and he wakes up going, huh! And it's just like a man, but still just seeing a talking raptor is like career highlight.
I don't know.
No,
I
series
quite.
highlight.
I like that. That was probably my favourite film with the whole T-Rex versus Spinosaurus. Cause it's one of these things of you always want like it's one thing like in the first one like the end of it's the Velociraptors versus the T-Rex,
Aye.
but you sort of realise that T-Rex got to win here. But when it's the two biggest dinosaurs at that point, they knew it. Cause I think there's bigger dinosaurs found now. There's the Gigantosaurus or whatever it's called, which is meant to be a 3 times bigger T-Rex. But when you get to see it, it's like the two biggest head to head. Who's going to win? That's pretty epic.
Aye. Right.
So, Chris Pratt.
What did you think of the film in a nutshell?
Loved it.
Aye.
I loved that they've built on Node Island to start with.
Yeah, that was interesting.
That
Like,
was it was one of these things that
it was almost like, let's just Like, is the park built on an old Indian burial ground?
Well, that was the thing.
Kinda.
I still didn't really know if it was or wasn't until you're sort of 15, 20 minutes
They
into the
start
film.
revealing those moments.
Yeah,
and
when it's the new owner talks about the previous.
they realise one of the boys in the fucking secure, like the headquarters, is wearing like a Jurassic Park t-shirt,
Yeah.
and it's like, oh come on, man, that's a bit bad taste. People died.
Because up until that point, I just presumed, as you were saying, it's just refranchised and
like,
it's just a new.
The other ones didn't exist. This
Yeah.
is a brand new thing.
I
Jurassic
quite.
what?
I have to say, I did like him with his wee dinosaurs around these wee thing
Aye.
and
That was he's like one of the
sort of side characters. He's a bit,
of like comedic relief as
Yeah.
well.
it's like serious stuff going on, and he's sitting there and just.
He's like the internet's reaction to
Yeah.
the events that's going on.
It's pretty awesome.
Right, let's take it back to
Start.
yes, the original Jurassic Park. When did you see that originally?
I saw it on release day, 6 o'clock showing at the Kino, England office.
Right.
I saw this one on release day, 6 o'clock showing at the Kino England office.
Fucking hell. Like,
It was
22 years
It
later.
was exactly 22 years. My mum was going about it because it was my granddad and her that took me to see the original.
Mhm.
And it was just one of these things that my mum was like, no, we're going. So the three of us went, watched the same film, same place. Been, of course, updated since then with the sofas and that. But it was just it's one of these things that I sat there on the edge of the seat for the whole time like a child.
Aye.
Didn't care that there was kids running around causing chaos, sitting there like a pig in shit, just so happy, just like dinosaurs. Well, the first thing I said to my mum when the film finished was, "Can I now go get the toys, please?" And she just sort of looked at me. It was like, "Well, I want my T-Rex, I want my Velociraptors, I want them all back."
Damn it, that was the trap. It was like a fucking 2-hour commercial.
It's like, where is Wilbur's when you need it?
For me, we caught it. I was on release. I think it was on like opening weekend or something.
Yeah.
And we were at the Perth Playhouse.
Yeah.
And it was me, mum, dad, and sister. And the only real standout moment I can remember is one of those first moments where the T-Rex breaks off, starts killing people,
Yeah.
and there's like the creepy lawyer, the
On the
sleazy
toilet.
lawyer, runs, hides in the toilet, and like it fucking does the big bad wolf, like blows the fucking hut down, goes, bites into him, and this moment synced up with my sister somehow,
Yeah.
as T-Rex bit into the lawyer, my sister bit into like the tomato sauce on a hot dog,
And it's spirited.
and she just like tasted the tomato sauce, seen a man get like chewed in half, and was like, oh, no, I don't want it. And she was like, do you want to get rid of the hot dog? And I was like, just like grabbed it and like, yes! Like, never goes to waste. And I just fucking munched on the hot dog.
I watched the first, second, and third one yesterday.
Right.
I was wanting to go with you, but had a family thing, and the first one was on ITV yesterday.
Yeah, aye.
So we just went our stuff in, put the second and third one back to back. But it was that bit there, and I was sitting there and I was laughing so hard, like juice came out my nose and everything with that, because I just forget about these wee bits like that when you go through the film. It's like, this is serious. Man's just been eating, but it was in the toilet. It was funny. But what really cracked me up was, as you're saying, that it was the big bad wolf, Huff Puff. The whole cup thing came down. Every other toilet went with the wall, apart from one he's sitting on, which happens to be anchored to the ground
Aye.
perfectly for.
Like, the rest are all in fucking concrete. He's in a little tiki hut.
Aye.
Oh no. So, what about the second one, Lost World? Did you go see that in the pictures? Or?
Well, the Lost World, I actually don't remember very much about the Lost World as such. I remember I did go see the pictures, but it is very, until I watched it yesterday, my memory of that film was pretty vague.
Aye.
It had Jeff Goldblum was in it.
Yes, He returned.
He returns to this new island where they're capturing dinosaurs to
Like,
to start a theme park
fucking
in New
the
York
Animal
or-
Farm or somewhere there.
Yeah, which was
They
a
just
bit,
left them.
but he went and he has his daughter who sneaks in, and
Aye.
it's basically like a family holiday gone wrong. This one.
I'd seen something like it was like an honest trailer, and of the second movie where like they point out all the flaws and make funny of it, and they were quite spot on about Jeff Goldblum. Like in the first movie, he's like the fucking wisecracking, flirt, this that, and the next thing. The other one, he's like a boring dad, or like he's lost all his personality, and
That's just like his acting career.
he does alright. You just like.
Does he?
When was the last time I've seen him? Like Grand Budapest Hotel. He had a wee role in
Yeah,
that.
the wee cameo, but he's not actually.
That's it. I'm not.
He sort of
winning my way
slipped
to
a bit way after
find
the Jurassic
his
Parks.
But for me, I got like one of the early forms of like a pirate copy of The Lost World, and it was like a long play cassette tape, VHS tape
Yeah,
that had Lost World and Men in Black on it.
that's pretty
And I
decent.
was like, oh, this is gonna be amazing. This is like my Saturday night sorted.
That's your life sorted. That's no.
Like, that was like as much as I fucking wanted when I was like, let's see, that was 93, so 7, 8, 10 maybe. I must have been 10 by the time the sequel came out.
I was 4 when the first one came out, so I would have been about 7 when the second one came out. But I remember, well, according to Mum, even before the first one, I was dinosaur mad. But I still remember having some of the toys from the first one when I went to the second ones, because I remember I used to have a Velociraptor and you pulled its leg and it made the noise.
Aye.
So I took that with me, and I remember sitting with that, and like, every time they would come on, like flick the leg, and it was just an eye folk, eh?
I'd be like, kid.
But now I'm the one that's sitting there going, fuck's sake, kids. There's dinosaurs on screen.
In a minute. There's got to be like, not a tar pit, but just like a Diet Pepsi pit.
Yeah, but the third one.
Aye.
I don't even went to the pictures, to be honest, with that one.
That was off my radar for donkeys. Like, I might have just seen that in the last 5 years. Because like, I think the interest had ran out at that point. I think I'd went different directions with films.
I've always loved dinosaurs, so it's one of the things that I definitely had seen. Don't think it was at the pictures. I've probably bought the DVD or videotape at that point, whatever it was on. But I did see it, and I remember seeing it on maybe on Sky on pay-per-view when it first.
That's it. I think I caught it just by the fact it was like on ITV on a Saturday or something. Going, never seen it. Let's watch it. Like, what, pterodactyls in this? That's all I could remember.
I liked the bit in it when the pterodactyl cage you're saying, and the Spinosaurus comes in and they sort of jump in the river and they float their way through the pterodactyl thing out and off the waterfall.
Aye.
And you're thinking, I don't remember that in the first film.
Right, so that's
us. Jurassic World.
Aye, we've come full circle. So what did you think of... Let's see, we'll go through our characters. Who were we first introduced to? The kids.
Oh, the kids?
Aye. It's like...
It's kids.
Exactly.
I sort of felt myself as one of those kids, like the youngest one,
right?
Who's all dinosaurs. That's what I was like when I was wee.
Aye.
So I'm sort of watching that, going, "He's me. He's living what I wanted to have lived when I was that age."
Exactly.
And it's the older one. Probably not too far off. Well, I'm 25, so he was probably about 16, 17.
Aye, exactly.
So I'm
he
sort of
seems to
thinking,
be missing his girlfriend, but just can't take his eyes off
every
girl
girl
lassie there.
Apart from the caretaker who's looking after them, who's
Aye,
really hot, and he never once
and
even
British. Like, for an American kid, it's like, oh,
that's like wet dream. But he doesn't even look at her. He just sort of like, let's sneak away.
Aye,
Let's sneak away now. But no, it's just they're quite well casted. He sort of grew on me though as the film went on.
The Justin Bieber older brother.
The older brother sort of. But one of the things that I loved was when they first go in there, and this is something that I'm going to have to see it again. The youngest one's like, yes, did you know there's 14 herbivores on this island and there's 6 carnivores? And I'm like, okay, brilliant. I only counted 5 in that whole film. I went through it about 3 or 4 times in my head. I can only count 5. I want to know where this extra dinosaur is.
Aye. I never paid that much attention. The film starts off a little slow.
Yeah.
I was nodding off in the cinema to begin with, which was like...
Was that Baby Brain though?
I reckon, like, I was possibly too close to a radiator as well, so I had like heat getting to me at one side. There was just some sort of general conversation going on screen. I just felt nod.
There's too much about this whole parent divorce case thing.
That's like the subplot about the kids. And it's like, right, we're having a divorce, right? Just go
to
on holiday.
Let's go to Dinosaur Park and see an auntie who happens to run the place.
Yeah, and it's really busy. So speaking of the auntie,
who was she?
She is.
I don't think she's somebody that
She's been in films before, but she's never been like
a lead.
Aye, she's got credits for like Terminator Salvation.
That was horrible.
The Village.
She's in The Village?
Yes, I think she's the blind woman in The Village.
Bit random, but yeah.
Lady in the Water. I think she had some time with M. Night Shyamalan, so she went that way. She's also the daughter of the director Ron Howard.
All right, yeah.
Who's like done the Da Vinci Code films. Yeah. So I think she's like been about, but has never been in a big fucking franchise as the leading lady.
Yeah.
So
I think you'll see her in everything now for the next few years.
Exactly, and like the exact same comes for
Chris Pratt.
Exactly, the guy who's like shot to fucking stardom now.
What I loved was the fact he's every normal guy up until he got the Guardians of the Galaxy role. He was small, he was tubby, he had a beer belly. He was a bit of a wise ass, which every guy thinks they are. Or it's sort of like, yeah, I could pull a 10. Never could, but I'm funny, and that's what he was. And then he got Guardians of the Galaxy and buffed out a wee bit because he had to, and now he's like every girl's wet dream again. It's just like,
and now men are like,
I wish I
can't
him.
be that. I'm gonna need like 3 months in a gym membership to try and look anything like that. But he is. He's like one of the most fucking like lovable guys in like, I guess Hollywood. Like. Even if it's just the fact that all his characters are always that fucking like cool, laid back, funny, it's like, man, he would just be cool to hang about
with. I read
something
about he was in, I don't know if he was at the London premiere of it, or it wasn't the world, it wasn't the world premiere, or the European, or however it was, because it came out in America a few days before over here. And afterwards, or beforehand, he was in getting pizza someplace,
right?
And he just turned round and he's like, "Yeah, guys, pizza's on me," and paid for the whole restaurant's dinner. And just sort of then left with his one pizza that he bought for himself. He just walked in, no security, no nothing, and that's like that's pretty cool. Like in terms of a guy just walked into some place because that's what it's on. He's just like, yeah, cool, whatever.
Maybe he just does it and thought, right, like reverse psychology. Bought them all pizza. Like, fuck, I'm gonna have to go see that Jurassic film now. I feel a bit guilty. Bought my dinner. It's like, right, I got us 20 more tickets, Colin. Like, thanks, Chris. Stop buying pizza for people. I know you've got all that fucking Lego money.
You're in Britain, go to Greg's, it's cheaper.
Pasties for all. Here, head, steak bake, on me.
You usually only have like 6-7 folk in a queue opposed to a restaurant full.
Aye. Who wants the meal deal? Sorted. But like he is like the fucking dinosaur whisperer in this film.
He's pretty awesome. It's like, he's the Velociraptor trainer.
Because that's it. It's
which...
SeaWorld, like there's always a guy fucking getting the whales to jump through hoops. They've got their equivalent. They've got the guy who gets the fucking raptors to do this, that, and next thing.
It's the poor pig.
That's all. I was going to say a lucky pig.
Here, piggy.
Aye. The whole night, obviously, we get to see that Chris Pratt's the fucking raptor whisperer.
Aye.
He's controlling them, and then like some silly new start.
Falls in.
Aye, and then we get like that scene you've seen in the trailers where he's surrounded by raptors.
It's like, no,
I know what I'm doing. Exactly.
I can't remember, there's one's blue, one's like...
Charlie, Delta, it's all like the Foxtrot. And it's like, well, who's the alpha? It's like, that's me, baby. Like, you fucking one-line bastards.
But no, it's, so he sort of gets in that cage, he sort of backs these dinos down, gets the guy out, does his fucking great forward roll through as the cage shuts.
That moment there, I've seen folk go to, that's why you should be Indiana Jones. Like, if all he had to do was lean back in and grab a hat, that would be like his audition tape.
It is. Well, with Shia LaBeouf being in the new one, he should sort of follow on for if they were making...
Aye, but like I think everyone just kind of rebelled and thought, no, the Transformers boy, no!
Who isn't in the new Transformers at all.
Aye.
Just to kill Transformers as well. But anyway, what I did like was his wee snappy one-liner there, and it was like, and what was it? It's like, a word of advice, never sit with your back to the cage or something like that. Or,
and it's right there.
And it's just like trying to eat at him. It's like, that's how the last guy... Oh, what was it? It was like, did you ever know how... Do you ever wonder why there was a job opening? And he sort of like, he was like, never turn your back to the cage.
Aye, and then it's just like the fucking raptor looking like your fucking house cat just going... Like that biscuits.
Dinner time.
The other guy we've got in this is Vincent D'Onofrio playing Hoskins, like the fucking security leader who comes in and he's like, I quite like these raptors, and he wants to militarise the raptors.
Kingpin?
Yes, he was Kingpin.
It took me a while sitting watching it, it's like, I recognise him, but...
He's
thinner
and
his hair, a lot of hair, yeah.
But he kind of has that distinct look and voice to him.
Yeah.
Because he's very distinctive in, like, fucking Daredevil.
I just sort of think he's a pretty shit baddie, though.
He's...
Like, I liked the first film because it was like the Fat Geek. So you didn't really expect to be a baddie, but this guy, he was just like, from the beginning, he was like constantly trying to undermine and get his foot in the door to do something, but it was building to actually knowing what it was.
Well, that's it. Like, he's always had this underlying motive where it's like, right, I could make a fucking mint off this.
Yeah.
Because that was like, his whole thing was like militarizing fucking raptors and like just fucking ending wars, but like not in the sense for like world peace, but in the sense for fucking millions and millions of dollars. Like a fucking big pool of money. But like, and we kind of get him to see him to go that whole like.
The whole extreme.
Aye, like he gets to do what he wants eventually because obviously Jurassic World, like Jurassic Park happens.
And it fails tits up.
Aye. Jake Johnson, a highlight. We've spoken about him already. That is the
Minardi
guy that's just sitting there with his Jurassic Park
New
t-shirt on.
Girl and Drinking Buddies and.
Aye, I recognised him because he was in that other Colin Trevorrow movie, Safety Not Guaranteed. He had like a supporting. Like in that film, it's led by Aubrey Plaza for Parks and Rec, and he's
Nick Miller, New Girl, which is one of my favourite shows. So
right.
Just like comedy you watch. So I quite like some of his stuff.
Aye. What did you think of the fucking? I didn't think he was the president of the company, but it was like Farah Khan, like
he's freaking badass.
Like he's like, yeah, I could fly this chopper, and it's like, you in 2 days' time you'll pass. And it's like,
I just love it. It's like that's how it comes in, and he picks up the girl, who's his number 2 or by the head of the park. They're flying it, but it's the guy, the co-pilot. It's so they land the plane at the sort of the compound. And the co-pilot just gets out to blow his load, just like spewing everywhere at the side. And he's like, "He'll be fine in a minute." He's just having a laugh, and it's like, "Well, this guy's seriously, you should be flying."
Right, this is it. He was like the fucking David Brent, like Ricky Gervais from The Office. Like he thinks he's cool, but it's like, oh. And then it's like when all the fucking chaos kicks in. It's like, oh no, we need someone to man the fucking helicopter to shoot down the fucking giant genome dinosaur.
On it.
It's like, let's go, boys. Like, oh, anyone else? Anyone else know how to fly a plane? And then, like, he's in there, it's like, I think he's like got a pilot's license, so he could just, like, run off the one-liners. Going in hard, boys. And, like, just saying, like, look alive, look alive. And then he's like, dead.
Miserable.
Well, he was pretty funny, but completely disposable.
Sorry?
But he was completely disposable.
Yeah.
The fact that he got toasted. Right. The dinosaur, the Indominus Rex.
Indominus Rex, that's it.
Yes.
Which had another rather long, pointless name. When he was like, "Why did you call it Indominus Rex?" And she was like, "Well, actually, it's blah 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 blah." But nobody could say that, and I was like, "That's possibly why you've called it Indominus Rex then."
Aye, and like the whole deal. This is their like
baby. This is
Frankenstein dinosaur.
Yeah, it's part T-Rex, part
T-Rex.
raptor, part.
Aye, that's like the big secret. The day when you're thinking about that, but
part tree frog, part
cuttlefish.
Yeah,
and like this was whole like why the cuttlefish? Like this is so it could camouflage, which was something they didn't realise.
No,
like,
because basically it starts off with when you introduce it. She drives up to the park. It's like, so where is this thing? And it's like, oh, it's in there someplace.
Aye, but the worst fucking security. Like, was it right? Find a dinosaur, and he was like the typical stereotypical lazy security guy. He was like, let me finish my sandwich whilst I look and munching crisps as he's like, he's not here. Like, how could like a fucking dinosaur that's going to be bigger than a T-Rex?
Well, what's it say? It's going to be 5 times bigger than a T-Rex.
Aye.
And exactly that. It's in this sort of cage thing that is never grown out of, and it's like she was like, so there's 2 of them, and it's like, well, it's sort of ate its sibling.
Aye, and the whole thing where they looked, and there was the fucking scratch marks on the wall.
They've jumped a bit there, but anyway.
Aye, he's like, did it climb out? And like that was a possibility. Like, that security guy should be fucking shot if he didn't see a dinosaur bigger than a T-Rex wiggling its arse over a wall. If no one saw that,
just gives you the claws.
Aye, but it got a little bit more clever when they went in the cage.
Yeah, well, we sort of jumped a bit there, but
what we missed.
Go on, Chris Pratt wasn't there to start off with.
Well, aye.
So, because originally they go there to show the owner, and then they're having issues with the security because they're trying to like double thick the walls because it's getting that big. So she goes to get Chris Pratt to come because it's only opening in 2 weeks, that enclosure or something like that to the public.
Aye.
However, before that, how cool was the T-Rex enclosure? It was just a giant wooden log. You walked inside to watch the T-Rex eat goat.
Aye, it was basically like watch it recreate famous scenes from the first movie.
Yeah.
Like, because they had like the person with the flare.
Yeah.
Was it just like a dummy?
It was,
flare, and then it was just like a wee.
And this giant
goat.
There's a goat. Oh, it was a real goat. That's it. That was dinner time. It was just the real goat standing there. It's like, bah. T-Rex munching.
My biggest role on stage. What is that? No.
And it's everybody cheering it on like, yay!
Aye. It's just like how it happened in the film.
Where's the lawyer? Get him in next.
Aye.
But no, so she goes to get Chris Pratt to come and give a sort of expert eye over it.
Aye,
and that's when the spot, when he arrives there, so where is it? And it's just like, it was in here a minute ago, because they saw it originally,
Aye.
sort of looking pissed off. And then he's like, there's claw marks on the wall. And she's like, where is it? And they start the infrared cameras, and it's not getting picked up on infrared.
Aye, and
no heat
some
signature.
part of it's
and
fucking species, whatever fucking animal
I
has
think,
been
I think
thrown
it
in
was a
its
G
concoction.
frog.
Aye.
It was.
It could basically somehow appear cold-blooded, so it kind of
was
get picked
unreal.
up on thermals.
But this is the bit that really sort of annoyed me was as you're saying, scratched in the wall, security guard.
Aye.
Never saw this thing
At
doing
least
that.
point his desk at the window, not away from.
But it wasn't even there. It was the scratches were literally at the side of where the big glass viewing platform was.
Aye.
Because they spotted it and they're like, what the fuck?
Aye.
And so she jumps in a car to drive away, calling them like, oh my god, creature out of containment, we need to do this, blah blah blah. Find its tracker, and it's like it's
Like,
in the
aye.
compound.
It's in the house.
Meanwhile,
the call's coming from in
It's
the
like,
house.
why didn't they not call it for the first place? Be like, can you track this thing?
Aye. Let's just stay in the room.
Stay in the room, take a
Don't
second,
go have a
just
look in the
assess the
cage.
situation. No, all three, the security guard, Chris Pratt, and some other guy was already in there.
I've fucking Manuel.
He was gone. He was the first thing gone. It was just like,
Aye.
so
Right.
as when.
Tell me, Manuel, when you finish? Oh, I'll retire tomorrow. Oh,
And then
that's good to
randomly,
hear.
because over the tannoy he hears, creature is in the compound. And you're like, what the fuck?
Aye.
And it just sort of walks out with its camouflage, like, ladies.
And that's it has like the little. They don't want to show the whole thing to begin with. You just see the legs and
Well, that was it.
fucking
I sort of
arms
thought they
and,
would
like,
play it was going a bit sort of Godzilla.
Aye,
Like,
you're-
because to me there was a bit of it was going to be, is this whole film going to be up until a big bit at the end?
the full reveal.
Yeah, because it's got so many different sort of features. Is it a case of like, right, so it can go invisible? Okay, now it's it can fucking climb a wall and stick to walls or shit, and
Aye.
at the end it's just going to be like, holy shit, this thing's monstrous. But really, it was just sort of like a build up to T-Rex with a couple of wee bumps on its head.
Mm-hmm. Aye. So,
So aye, so
what
basi-
did you think of like the design of like it's this big white T-Rex? Did it look goofy to you or?
I just thought it was a bit, well, it's one of these things that if you watch all the Jurassic Parks, the T-Rex has stayed the same, but the Velociraptors have changed in every film.
Mm-hmm.
First film, there were your Velociraptor, which was quite similar to the one that's in this film.
Mm-hmm.
Second film, they had some wee frilly shit on its head, like some like mohawk. Third film, it was feathery.
It's like they have this unknown reason to kind of jazz them up. Like
It's like, I can't sell toys that look the same as the previous toy.
it must
But
be.
the T-Rex more or less looks the same in each of them.
You kind of do like change that.
Not anymore. But this one, it was one of these things that I expected. First of all, it was meant to be bigger than a T-Rex. So I expected
I
some
think they
proper.
said something when it was fully grown.
Aye. So I
but-
expected to be some proper like monstrous sort of. I expected to have, I don't know, like big Velociraptor claws and have a bit of everything. Just
Well, that's
sort
it.
of look.
It does look
Badass.
pretty decent because it's got like those big. It did have like long claws. Maybe it didn't have like.
It
Sure,
had-
T-Rex is famous for his tiny little arms,
Yeah,
but it does kind of have a wee bit of an improvement.
I don't know. I wanted to be like bright purple with flames on it and just sort of like proper badass. But that's one of the things that you come into the next bit when it how it escaped, how easy it ran through that door when it was basically
It
shut.
ran through like plaster board. Like,
And it was one of these things that you're sort of thinking, well, if I could run through it then, why didn't she do that in the first place to get out?
I guess
It's like, I wanted to eat the guy that's meant to be watching me who just had a sandwich, because I like what was on that sandwich.
aye.
And
It's
then
like, pickled onion.
it was, because the security guard escapes with Chris Pratt, and Chris Pratt dives under a car. This security guard sits at the car like, oh shit, oh shit, oh
I'm
shit,
fat,
oh
I'm
shit,
fucked.
I'm fucked, I'm not going nowhere. Oh look, dinosaur. And it just sort of looked at him and was like,
It just like tosses the van behind him. Like,
it's like, right pal,
aye.
gobble gobble.
Um,
What I do like about this one is it seems to be more like a raptor, like it's more like a dog in the way it sort of smells its prey out.
and that was it. Like they were trying to keep it classified about what like is in this fucking cocktail of a dinosaur, and it wasn't until like a big bit towards the end where it was like, oh, he's a raptor, and like that was a bit. It was like, oh, this is why we're all fucked.
Yeah.
But it was like I guess if you're like fucking really sharp, you're like, he's a hunting inside the Santa Next, and like
Yeah, but I was thinking,
but-
could just be a sniffer dog DNA or something.
actually
like that.
out of all fucking like dinosaur concoctions. The probably top two things you want to mix is a T-Rex and a raptor. Like,
And then you chuck in Spinosaurus that can swim and drink and breathe water.
pterodactyl, like
Just
just
got
fucking
wings.
T-Rex with wings.
That's the next film. That would be the next film.
That would just
It's
look fucking miserable, like the size of
It
T-Rex.
used to be a dragon.
And a pterodactyl on its back, and it's just like little fucking child-sized wings going, this is shit. Better off walking. Right, so...
what I did like at that point was, so Chris Pratt sort of snaps the petrol line and covers himself in petrol.
I did
And he's
basically
like-
mask the scent of,
of
there's
him.
not a body odour, there's just petrol.
Just petrol and links. That was it. Just, but I love the fact that he's under the cordon and petrol. That thing's like having a big sniff, sort of looking for him. At no point when there's fucking a building on fire that's just been blown up by a T-Rex, you cover yourself in petrol about a foot away from a fucking flame, and you're like, yeah, well, okay, fair enough. How shit.
Aye, so the next, like, obviously, some of the big points that happen in the film, like the fucking...
They send the SWAT team out,
Yes,
Next.
we get these fucking, like...
which have no weapons whatsoever, just have cargo nets and cattle prods.
this is like the fucking safety side. No, this is the whole reason Vince D'Onofrio brings his men in, because
Because there's this creature of
everyone's playing
containment
with
and
kid
everybody's...
gloves, like tasers and fucking nets. It was like, there's a bit of a big beastie to fucking fight.
That's it, it's like they send this SWAT team in who have been training just for something like this. First of all, how the fuck do you train for something like this? It's like, T-Rex, just go for a walk. I've seen how the first film's got to turn out. We're going to play the exact same scenario again. This time we've got cargo nets and tasers. Oh, where's fuck to? That guy had a shotgun and a machine gun and snipers and bazookas in the first film, and that didn't bring the T-Rex. And you're thinking a cattle prod will? Especially when this thing's meant to be 10 times fucking T-Rex with superpowers.
Aye. And, like, we get that thing where, like, the kids, right?
Because I quite liked at that point, because the kids are out on one of the rides. Because they've ran away from their trainer at this point when this is all going on, because this is at the top half of the island, and there's meant to be an invisible barrier all the way down, like an electrical fence,
Exactly.
which just doesn't work. Because for some reason this
It's Jurassic
T-Rex
Park.
can also open gates.
That's it. I think it just comes into it's Jurassic Park.
It is.
The technology is never going to work.
It's just don't do it. Or if
Um,
you are, just have herbivores.
the whole thing with the kids going to wee pods, go for a run.
Yeah.
It
It just happens to
they
happen
all-
to them that they're just in the pod driving away, and it's like code 13 blue, blah blah
Aye,
blah,
like,
and everybody's like, all right, everybody.
go home and like,
Aye.
nah, let's go. Oh, look, there's an open gate. Let's go this way.
And at no point in the pods is there, can everybody please go back to like an exit? There's
I
just a
would
really
have
shit
thought
video
the fucking pods were like
on a track.
exactly like. It's like, this pod's now listen to us, right? Press the fucking go home button, and it just spins around and just rolls back to the base. Don't let them
Instead, they're
just
just
go
sort of like-
rogue.
It's the fact that he's just driving around, like the oldest one's like, I'm taking control here. Oh look, a gate open.
Aye.
What the fuck's there a gate open? It's like, so I'll drive through here, and it's like, oh look, here's from Ankylosaurus, and that was pretty cool. I quite like them at this point, because like they go through and it's like, oh, there's the big Diplodocus, there's a Brachiosaurus, here's whatever it is,
Aye.
and then it's like random gate into deep, dark, scary looking woods.
Aye.
That's more the sort
And
of.
it's like, oh look, we've discovered the set of the first movie.
Because I quite liked them, because that's when they first meet because they're in the pod in this.
They come across the Indominus Rex.
Yeah, Indominus
come
Rex,
across
and it's
those
just-
dinosaurs, and they have a wee game of footy with the boys.
Because I did quite like the fact that this thing's like, I'm not fucking scared of you, and then it lasted about 2 seconds. Because the thing is, there was 4 or 5 of these Ankylosaurus there, with they freaking armor plated, and it's like all they need to do is stand together. Now they get that thing, it's taughties.
Aye,
Instead,
but-
they all run apart for this one who
They
wants
didn't
to.
have this fucking hunting instinct that like the fucking Indominus does, where it's like, right, I can't hurt your head, I can't hurt your back, but it's like, I could flip you over on your belly and bite your head off.
That was it. And then all of a sudden decides it wants to eat the boys.
I was like, fuck it, you boys will do as well.
Because I quite like they have the wee video in the pod, and it's like, this is bulletproof, and it's a picture of it's like the video when the guy shoots a bullet and it bounces back and knocks him over. It's like, I'm okay.
Aye, and then like a big dinosaur cloak goes poke,
It's
which is like a fucking fish, a fucking bag of chips being burst. Like, right, I'm in.
I was waiting for go like Temp and Bowling there, just sort of like strike, knocking
Aye.
over all the dinosaurs.
And through all like that's happening. Then on the other side of the island, we've got the fucking crazy boss who drove the fucking helicopter into like the big glass dome of pterodactyls and there's other species of pterodactyls. There's ones that look like they've got little T-Rex heads on pterodactyl bodies.
Because, well, Chris Pratt and all that go looking for the kids, and that's when this all comes down.
Aye.
Because the auntie doesn't actually know the kids are missing up until this point of it's the pod, and they're like, oh, so they track the pod, and they find it, and then when they're finding it, the big Indominus attacks them, they jump off a waterfall, and then that's how they find, because they make their way to the dome, but they're at the other side of it, are they? Because they find this, like, the old garage for the original Jurassic Park with all the cars in it, and the boy's like, yes, remember, like, last summer when we were at Grandad's house and I built a Jeep from scratch, even though I have no mechanical experience.
I thought it was like, alright boys, come
It's
on.
like
There's PlayStations and Xbox out there, I didn't think he's out building cars.
No, never. So he builds a car that they steal, and the fact he has no driving license, yeah, he seems to be a better driver than fucking Colin McRae, who died in a helicopter crash.
Right.
So is he the pilot in this film? Anyway.
Aye, so, other points I thought were quite good. Like, obviously, it gets to the point where all the pterodactyls swarm on the fucking
compound with everybody's
the main, like, the fucking main high street of Jurassic World, where all the shopping centres, all the fucking
cracked me up,
foods.
because they're like, can everybody please remain indoors and go indoors? So what do they do? They run outside going, ah!
Aye, it's like, there's a Ben and Jerry's, there's an IMAX cinema, just go in. They're not going to charge you for a film. Just stop running away from buildings. Like, just mass chaos. No one was thinking.
What also annoyed me there was they have the sort of the security team, not the bad security team, the like in-house ones, and they've all got their freaking snipers and their whatever it is, and they all line up at this point, and they're all running. So there's thousands of these things flying about. Not one of them freaking fires a shot until about 50 or 60 folk have been lifted and dropped and attacked by whatever it is.
These things seem to be a threat.
But that was one of the things as the film started going along. How long it took him to use his fucking shiny gun. This gun featured for the first half of the film, constantly like, oh, look at Chris Pratt's shotgun. Oh, look at this. And he's constantly carrying it about, and quite the thing. And even when these birds are attacking him, he will not fire it. And then all of a sudden he fired it. Shit.
Aye, and, well, that's it. They run through a whole bunch of birds, shooting them down.
And how easy to bring them down?
I guess it must have been like a fucking high level, like, knockout drug. I didn't think they were, like, just blasting holes through them. I think they were just, like,
they just need to hit them when they drop, and they're just like...
That was it. Like, that kind of leads us into the introduction of, like, these mercenaries that Vince D'Onofrio was bringing in. And it's got that cracking shot of, like, the guy sitting in a helicopter, and you just see one of the fucking pterodactyls getting away from the island. And they just
sort of sniped it.
And they just fucking rip it with a few bullets and go, heh. Fucking dinosaurs. And they're all hanging to be chuckle amongst themselves. And that's how we kind of get the fucking rugged crew of, right, let's just fucking kill anything that moves. And, like, they managed to convince, at least Chris Pratt manages to convince them, that, right, my raptors will work with us.
But I have
we can hunt. I need to be the leader. I'll get them to go with me.
Before that, there was a bit that I thought was like, I absolutely wet myself, and it was Nick Miller, what's his name? The sort of the wee nerdy guy in the tower.
Lowry.
So, basically, the main guy, before he goes on his suicide mission and shoot them down, is like, right, everybody evacuate the island, go home, get in the ferries, get off the island, and he's sort of like, I'm going to stay behind, be like the last man standing. Somebody's got to protect them and look after everybody, and he goes to kiss this girl, and she's like, whoa, I've got a boyfriend.
He's like, oh,
and it's
right.
like, oh, okay, you've never mentioned him. And it's just that awkward, it's like, okay, I'll just go back to my desk now.
I'll just go down the island.
On my own.
Oh, shame.
So you can at least touch me once.
We get
he brings the mercenaries on at this point. So as you said, they've sort of discussed. It's like what we're going to do, and he's like, right, we'll use my raptors, but we'll do it my way. So it's the kids, they find the kids at this point. Everybody's in the back of an ambulance,
some sort of utility van.
Yeah, and they're sitting back at the base. But I loved that all the raptors beforehand were kept in cages like some sort of racing horses with their heads like pinned into. And I just like he comes out in his like freaking motorbike, and the raptors are all running around. It's like get him, boys!
That was like the moment where Aubrey thought this film seems weird. Like Aubrey questioned that moment. Was like, boys riding along with raptors. That doesn't seem right. Like in any other Jurassic Park film, he's riding, and then 4 raptors jump on him. But that's it. This is the whole it's now in context. So they do that. They get to the point where they find the fucking Indominus Rex, and so it's like all of them lined up, all their fucking little guns,
Snipers on them,
all the lasers pointed at the bushes. Then like
I did like the way it sort of was in the bush, but it was the same colour like the camouflage, and it just
whole
sort of,
camouflage.
then it just steps forward, and it sort of goes back to the white colour, so we
it's
can
like,
see it.
alright boys, I've been waiting. And then the fucking that's when we get that fucking reveal where it's like the raptors go over, stop, here we sniff, it does the wee sniff,
and then it starts talking to
the
them
wee elephant
almost,
goes, "Huh, huh."
and they're like, huh?
Aye, and then like they're just they wee hand signal to each other, they all nod turn around and look at the humans, go,
Dinner.
aye. And that was it. It's like, I now know what the fucking hidden ingredient in that dinosaur cocktail was. Raptor.
What I did like this, like I know that the raptors kill the mercenaries, but they don't actually kill any of the trainers.
Aye, it's like there's
Because Chris Pratt, well, of course he's got to live because he's the main guy.
Aye.
He gets away, but there's the black guy that was the trainer as well, and he inside the log,
aye.
and it was like the raptor was trying to get it, then it sort of was him, and Chris Pratt just motorbiked it past, and the raptors all ran after him again, and it was almost like, no, I'm not going to eat you. But we never see that guy again. He's just left out in the middle
Still
of the
there,
jungle with freaking dinosaurs running wild.
Aye. He's got his own story now.
But it seems to be that, to me, the distance on the island, it's a massive island, but they seem to get to each other from A to B within like seconds.
Aye,
Like,
know
the
too
raptors
bad.
were chasing him, yet 30 seconds later they were attacking the van back at the compound, which was another side of the island sort of thing, that they just drove away from.
Oh, that's it. The raptors go fucking mental. They have to get away. It's
Another
like-
thing, at that point, they blow a raptor out of a bazooka.
yes.
There was 4 raptors to start off with, 3 in the girl.
Ah, because there's Blue,
Because when he
Charlie,
was running,
Delta, Echo,
Mhm.
and like obviously Hingley, the Chris
so
Pratt's
he's the
Alpha.
5th, aye.
So I would 4
4 raptors
or
on him.
5. Aye.
Aye. So one gets blown up,
Yeah.
one gets basically munched in 2 off a side of like a tree.
Well, that's I guess that just gives you the impression that it just got her it got back up because the only one that clearly died
Was the bazooka.
exactly that one was not
Because
coming back.
as the sort of thing, they try to get away from them and they go back to the main sort of compound, high street area to try and hide from them. Meanwhile,
Aye,
the
there were left with
baddies are-
2 raptors at that point
3.
that were following them.
There was 2 chasing them, but when they get to the compound, there's 3.
Right, aye, maybe
Because they're
because
inside,
like 2 come through the doors.
and one bunches the guy
towards the end because
'cause-
Blue's amongst them, like his.
Because what you
prize
actually, because what you
raptor.
find out is the security guy isn't actually a security guy and all. He's stealing all the dinosaur DNA. Him and the actual
Him
mad
and Dr.
scientist are creating their own island or theme park or whatever, and they're stealing all the dinosaur DNAs. But it's the photos on the sort of the laptop, and it's like, this is what the next thing is, and it was like,
Aye, they were basically wanting to shrink the Indominus Rex to raptor size.
yeah,
So it's like
have an army of
miniature
them.
T-Rexes
Yeah.
as fucking military weapons.
Between that and it's flipping because there was that, and was there not one that was like the Spinosaurus with wings sort of thing, and there was like
Aye, there was
all these scary ass sort of dinosaurs. You're like, that'd be pretty
fucking
cool.
nightmare creatures descend to fucking Afghanistan.
And I love the fact that like they walk in as these folk are like raiding all this shit and stacking it away. Not one person says, "What the fuck are you doing here?" or anything. It's just like,
Aye,
like,
they kind of wait. Is that wait? What are you doing? It's like, aye, just
just you've not seen
pillaging.
anything. You've not seen anything here, boys. It's just-
ransacking, and then we get like raptors show up. They get let outside, and then it basically becomes like the fucking dinosaur Royal Rumble.
Oh, I loved it there because so it starts off like they get outside and it looks like the raptors are going to like eat them, and then the big Indominus Rex appears and they're sort of surrounded.
Aye,
And
and
it-
that's it.
it
This
looks
is probably like when the best part of the movie kicks
Oh,
in
aye,
for Obdi.
it's-
Everyone has like come out saying, "What a fucking ending!"
Because
And-
it's like Chris Pratt and they're surrounded, and you think that's they're going to get munched,
Aye,
and it's just he's like, come on, Blue, come on, Charlie, come on. And he's like starts talking to the raptors, and Blue comes over, and it's almost like it's your pet dog, and it has the wee sort of rub, sniffs them, and it's like, no, I'm not doing this to my dad. And it's like, fuck you, big guy, and they'll just turn on the Indominus Rex.
and that's it. It's like right away. It's like it's fucking Indominus Rex. It's been bred to be better. It's a hunter. You've seen all these fucking dinosaurs dead along the way, so it just starts fucking destroying
We've
the
done
raptors.
this whole podcast, and we've not even mentioned the key thing that ends this whole thing.
Exactly, that's it. It's kind of made that way. because not until that point in the movie,
Do you even think it?
I thought, wait a second, we've not really seen a T-Rex at all in this movie.
No, not even that.
What?
What actually takes Indominus out?
Aye, that exactly. The big
finale,
crocosaur.
Because right at the beginning of the film, you're showing this big crocosaurus.
Well, that's it. It's such a kind of throwaway scene to begin with, where it's like,
it's like Shamu the whale at the theme park. But this thing, like, you don't even expect anything, and it's like. So anyway, Velociraptors turn on Indominus to give them a fighting chance, and they run away.
They start getting their arses whipped.
They get absolutely munched. But then for a while there, you thought, these raptors are holding their own alright against this thing, sort of jumping on it, and then one of them gets smacked off a thing and barbecued.
Thrown through shops.
That was awesome, the one that gets barbecued.
And that's it. This movie is... I've seen one review, like, just the headline that says Jurassic World is just like a giant commercial. And I think every fucking summer blockbuster movie is a giant commercial. Like one point where they're driving...
Coke.
Well, no, that's it. They had all their own branded cups. Right, Chris Pratt was drinking a
bottle of Coke right at the beginning, and
they were driving fucking Ford cars that came right out of the adverts. They even name dropped like Verizon, because that's it. They were selling the rights to this dinosaur to a company, just for the profit. So it was like Verizon Mobile presents to you fucking Indominus Rex.
Yeah.
And that's when the fucking geeky office boys like, oh really? Are we just selling our souls now? Like fucking Raptors brought to you by Gillette. And just all this shit. But it wasn't... Because that's it. The Raptors were getting thrown through fucking Ben and Jerry's shops.
It got to the point that it was just his Raptor against the thing, the blue. And she gets launched... Well, at this point, the girl runs away. She's like, I've got an idea. And she goes to release...
more teeth.
T-Rex? Why has nobody ever thought of this beforehand?
Like, he's just sitting there like, what's going on? What's going on? Oh, a goat. Num num num. What's going on? Somebody let me out. And
it's just the fact that the open thing, it's like, you're like, what's going on here? What's going on here? And it's like, flare. Oh yes, automatically T-Rex is attracted to flares.
Like, wait a second, I've seen that film.
It's like, follow me. So she runs back.
All the sweaty redhead and tank tops, like, certainly.
Brings the T-Rex, but at this point, sort of Chris Pratt and the two boys are trapped in this wee, clothes shop, just trying to, this thing's got them
banana
pinned.
stand, they're like...
They're pinned, they're going nowhere.
There's fucking raptors, there's claws, there's fucking heads, like everything's like... This hut's like did a lot better than the tiki toilet for the first one.
Because we got to the point that it was just Blue versus the thing, because the rest of them being eaten, and she gets launched against, I don't know what, I can't remember, it was like a flagpole or something, but she gets melted around it, and that's it. She looks like she's dead, and he's like, no!
Aye.
And at that point there, it's like, and my heart actually hurt there when that thing died. I was like, I was gutted on the inside. I was just like, oh. It's almost like it was the guy at the beginning, the security guy was going on about he rescued a wolf cub, and that was the whole thing at this point here. It says, when I was being rescued a wolf cub, when I got older, I was getting...
I bit his wife.
I bit his wife because she came out with a knife, and it's that whole thing of loyalty, like what a pet would do for you. And it was like the whole thing is like that, but it's like that raptor could be my dog, and it was just the whole thing. It's like I can go to bed at night and I can cuddle in and I can clap it and it's like play fetch with it, and it's just like I know it's going to eat me at some point. Yeah,
exactly.
But
like, ever seen the documentary Grizzly Man?
No, but just there, it just sort of has like the way they built it and the fact that they've sort of turned in the family loyalty
and that story,
and it sort of just tugs at you that wee bit. It's like, oh, it just sort of killed his pet, and you felt for him, and I was just sort of like,
aye. And then it's just like that fucking song like, I need a hero.
And T-Rex
redhead riding a T-Rex going, oh, more teeth, boys. Just slides in the back of it like Fred Flintstone. Jumps off. Then the fucking T-Rex gets his totties.
I thought, oh, the T-Rex just got
shot on it. I was like, what's it doing? No, you're the winner.
Yes,
like you're the T-Rex.
For like the third film, the T-Rex and Spinosaurus. The Spinosaurus whoops the T-Rex and kills it, but at least there's a bit of a fight in this thing.
Aye.
This thing here like, just sort of like
fucking headbutts it, throws and starts biting its neck.
That's it, just laughs at it, just like a backhand, and it even lets it get up and have a second go, and almost is like, bring it on, just knock it straight back down again.
And then it kind of changes it up because the fucking Raptors get their second wind. They jump back in.
It's just blue. It's just the one Raptor. So it just sort of gets up and
it becomes like a 2-on-1, and it's like
the Raptor keeps jumping on its face, and the T-Rex I thought was dead though.
Aye.
And it gets up and knocks it about, and it's sort of they push it back. They fight towards the edge of this giant crocodile pool.
Aye, and that's like the fucking giant payoff because you thought they're fucked, and like the dinosaur falls in there. It's like, what next? They're like, yeah, big fucking dino.
It was a bit of a
jumps out,
shitty
just pops
sort of
up.
climax.
Got too close to the water, eh? That's what happens. I think it's like fucking Resident Evil 4 if you do that. If you get too close to the water, fucking creature jumps out and eats you. Like, it was the fucking brilliant moment. And of course, this film is fucking laid on thick with that John Williams, like, dun 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 dun. Like,
what I love there
that's
was,
just
like-
laid on thick. And whenever the fucking thing gets killed, film it. Let's just throw the theme music. Get Jurassic as fucking this boy.
But what? Really?
I think why I said boy is it in this film.
But what I really liked there was like the T-Rex Velociraptor, and I was like, oh shit, they're going to fight now because there can only be one alpha. And they both look at fucking Chris Pratt, who gives them a nod, and the Velociraptor looks at the T-Rex and gives that a nod. The T-Rex is like, I'm going to eat him. No, I'll get a nod. Right, you go that way, I'll go that way. So the T-Rex dunders off.
Right.
The Velociraptor stand and look at him like, Dad, what do I do now? And he was like, go, be a raptor, go, eat man.
Aye.
And it just sort of like, so the raptor runs off the opposite direction, you're thinking, is that it?
Mm-hmm.
And apart from this, as this whole thing's going on, where the fuck's everybody else on this island?
Dead. Or they're all hiding in the fucking IMAX theatre going, oh fuck. Oh fuck.
Because at no point when this
They were
the
doing
fight's going down-
evacuations. They were saying
were-
like
they were-
ferries every
yeah,
45
they were doing
minutes. So they were
evacuations,
probably
but-
slowly getting them off the island.
No, but once this all like ends that sort of the fight, they end up in the air raid shelter waiting for a ferry with everybody else.
Aye.
So where the fuck were they the whole time this whole one was going down?
Well, that's it. Hopefully they listened to the fucking tannoy and got the fuck out of there.
But what I loved there was at the end of it, it was sort of the whole thing of him. So what we're going to do now is like, I think we should stick together for survival. You're like, really? It's like for a sequel, for a big payoff. That's what this is.
Exactly. Other than that, we've got a website, we've got a Facebook, a Twitter, and we do lots of written reviews, as I've mentioned already. So Facebook is Films and Swearing.
.com.
That's our website.
Website, yeah.
Facebook.com/ I like to do a
Films-
karate chop
yeah.
in the room when I say /. Still not a video podcast. / Films and Swearing. For Instagram and Twitter, it is FAS Podcast, where I tweet a load of shit, but
Yeah, there's always stuff on that.
that's the point of Twitter. I think I'd mentioned that Shame was on through the week,
Yeah.
which is a really kind of depressing, dark Michael Fassbender movie. But it's notable in the sense that he kind of goes nude in the opening credits. Like, he just walks past the camera in the scud, takes a piss, then walks back out. So I like to describe the film as, like, go see Michael Fassbender and his big willy in Shame. Because he seems
There's
to...
no shame then.
Aye, they didn't have shame swinging that fucking club about. Aye. And reviews, we ignore the sound of screaming children. We are not neglecting them. There is a mother in the building. Aye. Reviews on the website. Giovanni's Island Blu-ray review is up. Which is an anime for last year. Which about World War II, which is quite depressing. But, if that's your bag, it's on there.
Fair enough.
That's it.
That's it.
I've been your host, Stuart Silent. Joining me today is Michael Govery. Fuck off and tune in next week.
Fuck off.